There are a few books that have captivated me quite the way The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune has. The characters, from the adults Linus Baker and Arthur Parnassus, to the children, Chauncey through Theodore, alphabetically, and all of the supporting characters, feel so real and fully fleshed out. The setting, as nearly cartoonishly wonderful as some of it may be, is still somehow heartbreakingly real. The idea of a caseworker whose work is both a drudgery and a calling, who is called upon to investigate a house full of monstrously magical children and their mysterious caretaker, whose work I can identify with having been a child care worker myself, feels like it was inspired by great works by Roald Dahl and Ian Fleming, as he wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, if you can believe it. And yet, it's intensely original in its execution. And I don't want to leave out what, to many, is going to be a vital part of this book. It is a very queer book. Linus is a man who, from the beginning, is established as gay. He's never had a relationship and has resigned himself to a life of loneliness and work, though he does see his job as a vital one, as he firmly believes he is protecting the children via his investigations into the orphanages he's sent to. He's still a slave to rules and regulations. This life leaves him little time only for his recalcitrant cat and his Victrola. His co-workers ignore him at best, and his supervisor is abusive and domineering. This all changes when he's sent to a faraway island and meets Arthur Parnassus, the keeper of the titular house and caretaker of the children. Feelings quickly spark between the two men, but for a variety of reasons, this slow build seems to be headed anywhere but romance. Did this mean you have to be queer to enjoy this story? No more than you have to be straight to enjoy a story that has a straight romance at the center of its story. This book is also very much about people who are othered, regardless of why that is. This is central to many queer people's experience, but it's also central to the experience of people of different races, ethnicities, gender identities, those with neurological differences, and people of all stripes. If you've ever felt like you've been rejected, prejudged, or made fun of, you should be able to identify with the kids who live in this house and their struggles, as well as the adults. As for the romance angle, well, again, you may not be queer. This is a sweet romance, which I, for one, feel like anyone should be able to appreciate regardless of their sexuality. Some of the reviews this book has gotten have shown this not to be true, in all cases, of course. Regardless, while it's part of the story, it's not the whole story. Moving on. Surprises are in store for the reader and for Linus as we get to know the children and the adult inhabitants of the island. There is so much character growth for everyone involved, though the road is filled with bumps, bruises, and no small amount of mirth. It all ends in what I find is a warmly satisfying conclusion, which left me with moist eyes and a soft smile. One thing that's worth noting about the book is that it's written in a style which is very approachable to YA readers. Nothing in it is, in this reviewer's opinion, inappropriate for that audience. It does seem to be an interesting choice given the main POV character is a middle-aged man. It doesn't really read like a novel for an adult audience alone, and I'm not talking about things like the use of explicit language or sexual situations. It's clean in that regard. I'm not quite sure who the intended audience for this book is, short of just saying everyone, and that's fair enough, as I do think readers of most ages will find this book engaging and chock full of whimsy, if a bit simplistic in some ways. It's that simplicity, a world where there aren't many shades of gray or adults who use strong language, which I think have caused many to think this is a YA book, and others to find fault with something that's not more challenging or gritty. I prefer to think of it as possessing an air of the aforementioned whimsy and don't find fault with it. I was also quite pleased to discover that there's a sequel to this book, which I'll be reading as soon as time allows. I can't do anything but give this story 5 stars, as it's a win on every level, and I highly recommend you give it a read.